So we need to add the holes that we see in the drawing that we have listed here. I'm going to start with adding the holes to this top face right here that we need, the holes for um, the handle to be screwed on. Okay. Actually, I do see another dimension that's missing from this box top that's not on the drawing, and it's the radius, or the diameter of the holes. Okay, but it does show us location. It does show us location of these holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in to my hole command here, and linear face. I'm going to select and put a hole on that face. Okay, and I'm going to select this edge as one of my edges to dimension it off of. Okay, and then reference 2, I'm going to select this edge. I selected those edges because if you take a look at the drawing, aren't those the edges that the holes are dimensioned from? How far is it from this short side? It's 15, isn't it? Okay, how far is it from that long side? 10. Okay, so I now have it positioned exactly where I want it. Got it positioned exactly where I want it. I'm going to hit apply. Okay, I hit apply so that it puts the hole in, but this dialog box still stays open so I can put in my next one, my next hole. Okay, so I'm going to select the face again. Okay, I'm going to select this edge as reference 1, and I'm going to select this edge as reference 2. Reference 1, what dimension should that be? 10. Okay. Now, what dimension should this be?
35.
How did you get 35?
Because you put 15 plus
15 plus 20, good, gives you 35. And there we go. Hit enter. It applies the whole dialog box, shuts down. Now, we didn't verify whether we made those the right diameter. So I'm going to go back into them and edit feature. And notice that the diameter I have here is a 3. Is that what I want? No, I want a 2 diameter. And I want to not terminate at a specific distance. I just want to go through all. So it's not going to specify a distance that the hole goes into my solid. It's just going to go through all. I hit enter. I do need to go in and edit this feature as well to turn it back into a 2 millimeter hole, and it's going to terminate through all. Hit OK. Now I've got the 2 holes in the correct location at the top of my box to attach the handle to. Now these are through holes, which means the screws are going to come up from behind and screw into the threads that are put in the handle. So the threaded piece is in the handle, so you can tighten that handle down onto the top of this box. Okay, well, we've got 4 more holes that we need to do. 4 more holes that we need to do. Okay, and the holes are the corner holes that we have here, 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 and here. Looking at the drawing that you have, what size holes are they? So 4 by means that there's 4 holes. The 4x means that there's 4 holes. What's the size of the hole? It's an M2. What does the 0.4 refer to? Not the depth. Notice the arrow pointing down at the end with a 4.00. That implies depth. That means it goes down 4 millimeters. Okay? But what does the 0.4 mean? The pitch. Remember the pitch of a screw? Okay? Every thread is 0.4 millimeters away from each other. Okay, that's how you read pitch for metric bolts. Okay, so we want an M2 by 0.4-6H at a depth of 4. Okay, now you'll notice that there are some dimensions. It looks like the center of the holes is 1.5 millimeters from each edge. Okay, so I'm going to apply my hole. I'm going to select this as the face to place my hole on. Now, right now it's just a solid, just a through hole. I'm going to come over here. This right here is the option to select a threaded hole. When I select threaded hole, all these options open up. Now I'm going to switch to and Z metric M profile. Okay? Metric is what we want. And designation, I know that it's a size 2. And look what it selects, M2 times 0.4. Right-handed class, we'll leave it at 6H. Okay? I'm going to come back up here, and I'm going to specify right here the depth. What was the depth that I want? 4. I'm going to specify the depth of 4. That's great. So we've got that going on there. So we know what type of hole it's supposed to be now. Okay? It's actually this depth that needs to be the 4. Both of them need to be a 4. So this one right here is the total depth. This one right here is the thread depth. If you keep both the same, it'll just thread the whole hole. Okay? But we now need to reference this. I'm going to choose reference 1 here. I'm going to choose reference 2 here. What should the dimensions on each of those distances be? It should be a 1.5, right? Because it's 1.5 from each edge. And there we go. And I'm going to hit now OK. And there we go. There is my M2 by 0.4 at a depth of 4 millimeters. I now have a hole that I can screw the bottom part of the box into. Okay. Now I could go through the same process to apply the same hole to each of these, but what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to create what is called a rectangular pattern. The reason I'm going to create a rectangular pattern is all of the holes created by the patterning are going to be referenced back to this hole right here. The usefulness of that is this. If I go back and I need to change this hole, if I change just this one hole, it will change all the holes because the rectangular pattern is based off of that hole. So rectangular pattern, feature, what feature am I going to pattern? It's this hole right here that I'm going to pattern. Okay, so I have that hole selected. And direction 1, so I select direction 1, is going to be along this line. Notice that it already patterned the hole that way. Well, I'm going to select this flip so that it patterns it now the other way. Okay, so it's patterning it that other way. How far do I want it to pattern it? Don't I know that the total dimension from here to here is 50?
47.
But it needs to be 47 because there's a 1.5 inset on each side, right? So I'm going to pattern 2 of those to 47. Notice it places it right where it needs to be. Now I'm going to select my second direction, which is along this edge, and I want it to pattern that down. What's that? 20 minus 2 1.5s is going to give me a 17. And it puts those holes exactly where I need them to be. So I'm going to hit OK, and it has those holes now exactly where we need them to be. Okay, and that finishes up, okay, our box top. Okay, we've got the nice top exact way we want it. There we go.